Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. We are on day 2 of practice and a little nicer conditions today. The sun is out. I'm seeing a little bit of shad activity, so I'm gonna tie. Actually, I saw a lot yesterday, but I'm seeing some more like cruising right up tight to the bank. Usually that's a great time to throw a swim jig, so I'm tying on a swim jig, which I did not have on yesterday, and I feel like it could be a pretty good player just from the standpoint of a lot of the water. When you get into any of the little pockets or back ends of the creeks, it really does start coloring up pretty good. Very good swim jig colors. So I tied on a core tackle Shadalac 3/8 ounce with a skinny dipper, this one on the back. So we're gonna throw this around a little bit, see if we can cover some water. We're still going to keep looking for beds, and we're in a new part of the lake, and so far today, I mean, it's been about the same as yesterday. Catch fish here or there. Haven't found anything that is great. I can't say I found anything yesterday that I like area wise that I felt like I had to go to, but you know, that's fishing. We still got a lot of time left, and I really think this tournament's going to be quite a bit about an area and just buckling down and trying to figure them out in that area. So we'll keep giving you updates throughout the day. It's definitely cooler today. It's only going to be a high in the 60s, low 60s. Yesterday it was upper 70s. Those storms went through and you could just feel the temperature just declining. Usually doesn't have a huge impact on these Ozark style lakes in terms of water temperature. They're just so voluminous that it doesn't really matter that much. But the fish do tend to really respond to these high pressure days. So I don't expect today to be a great day. I'm just hoping to find some fish, find an area that I can go off of come tournament time, because tournament time, we're gonna have so much rain between the end of practice and throughout the tournament that the water is gonna come up, the water is gonna dirty. It's gonna be one of those events where you just wanna have an area and try to adjust within that area. So that's where we're at. We're gonna keep at it. So it's about lunchtime. Bite has not been great. I've only had a couple of bites today. Couple on the scamper rig, and then we had a couple on actually one on the glide bait. So we made a move. We came down here to the very lower end where the dam is. Water is much clearer. Shouldn't say much, it's definitely clearer, at least where I am right now, to see what the fish were doing here. You know, it's one of those things where I feel like we are definitely post front. Like, I still feel like it's getting colder throughout the day, and maybe that's just from the run, but it was a chilly run. So we've got that working against us. A lot of times in my experience on these Ozark lakes, the fronts really do affect them very well, especially from an activity level. They generally get down on the bottom, which is not a great thing for covering a lot of water. If you're looking to cover water, they're generally not as high up, so you got to fish a little slower, which we're getting ready to do here. Still just trying to cover water, get a good look for everything, kind of go about it that way. But it generally is just much tougher day of fishing if you've got post front conditions, which we haven't got the bluebird yet, but I mean the water or the air temp is definitely dropped, and it's just not nearly as nice as it was yesterday. So we're gonna bounce around a little bit down in this area, see if I like this, and we'll move on to another area. We're just bopping around, seeing what we like. Well, it's about our lunchtime update, midday update. We have really slowed down trying to work some of the bottom stuff, just based on like what I was saying before. We finally got our bluebird. Sky is pulling through. Feels good, the sun, but I know that that's why the bite is much tougher. I have gotten a couple bites working a little finesse jig down some of these rockier, steeper, you know, kind of channel swing banks. Neither of them real big. Both of them were probably, I don't know, 1.75 pounds. And I know this is a way I could get some bites. I just keep thinking about like the situation in the tournament. I mean, we've got, with the changing conditions, I think right now, like, these fish, thought that was a bite. These fish are, you know, tough right now, but if we do get the water to come up a couple feet and get some dirty, you know, color to it, I just think so much is going to change. And I keep trying to think of like what it is that I'm going to try to implement. And, you know, I think there's about 25 different ways I could go about it. So that one's gone, which is fine. The hook was doled over anyways. So I'm gonna tie on another little finesse jig and get back at it. But so much of this right now is all about trying to plan ahead, because it's gonna change so much. Like, I just want an area I can really settle down. That's what I want. Well, it's 4:41 and I was gonna get out of this area and go back up towards the area I was in yesterday because I wasn't liking it. And then I got a bite. Then I went a little further, got another bite, and now about an hour and a half later, I have had a whole pile of bites. And not any like really good fish, but a bunch of fish in that like 2-pound class range. And it's been really patternable. There's these little kind of transitions that I'm looking for. I mean, I can literally just drive and find it, and every time I've found it, I've had at least one bite. And I mean, I should say I've had a bite, because I get up and leave if I get that bite. So we're gonna spend the last, you know, little bit of the day up in this area, but it's really surprising because it's all coming on the scamper. Still the same scamper. You can see how torn up it is at this point. But it's been really easy fishing in terms of calling your shot, and I like that. What I want is to see a big fish, and by big I don't mean giant, I mean like a 3-pounder. And I have seen a couple of fish. I had one fish hit my bait, one fish that followed it to the boat, and they were probably 2.5. So those aren't bad fish for this place. I mean, those are really good fish. If you can have a limit of 2-pounders, 2+ pounders, you're going to be doing pretty decent. So I went from, it's amazing how this always happens. You go from writing an area off to now I'm like, man, this is an area I think I might concentrate on. I might come back tomorrow and spend some more time in, or, you know, I don't know that I need to, because I feel like it is a pretty patternable thing. So I don't know, you know, still explore tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how this day ends up. Still, we got still a couple hours to fish, but it went from being completely not what I was expecting to now I'm pretty satisfied with it, at least in terms of, you know, some okay quality fish. Not a giant. There are a lot of these in here, and that's actually a keeper, probably, maybe just under 13 inches a keeper. This is still the same fluke. It's almost becoming like porous, and it's almost time to call it a day. The sun's getting pretty low behind me, and I don't know, guys. Since the last update, I mean, I've had a lot of action, a lot of bites. There's definitely a lot of fish in this area. Have not seen the size that I'm looking for, I guess. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I've had a couple nice, like I said, some of those fish that you really need to fill out your limit. It's a matter of getting a bigger bite. You know, those three pounders. If you can do a couple of those with 2 pounders here, I actually feel like that's going to be pretty good. And I have a hard time believing that there aren't some better fish here. I think the males are up right now, but you know, in another, whatever that would be, 3-4 days, it could be that point where there's some females moving up. So I got to think about what I want to do tomorrow. There's you know, I know I can do this and catch fish. You know, I feel like I can do this in the area I was at yesterday and catch fish, and I did have a couple more, my 2 biggest bites of the week were doing that, but at the same time, every other fish I had that would have been a keeper was smaller than a lot of my better fish, my best fish today. I feel like my average size was actually better in this area. So, you know, I don't know yet. It's the joys of tournament fishing. You don't, right, see, there's another one following it. He's still on it. You know, I feel like with this many fish in this area that, from that standpoint, it's like there's gotta be some better females somewhere. I mean, with this many males, there's just gotta be. They're just not here. So there's a big part of me that wants to come tomorrow, kind of work the same area, but fish completely different stuff to see if we can't generate some bigger bites, you know, to the point where maybe you don't get many bites, but you know when you get bit, they're going to be those females. And from that standpoint, then you've got a way to catch your fish, you know, some decent quality, and then you have a shot at potentially then switching over and catching the big ones. And I really feel like you need one big bite, like a 3.5 plus, with a limit of those, you know, close to 2 pound average fish. That's what I think it's going to take to get paid. That's not what it's going to take to win, but you know, I also think if you're in an area with a lot of fish, I do think you have the potential of getting lucky and getting, you know, two or three of those bites. You get, you know, 2 or 3.5 plus pound bites with a couple of 2 pounders to go with it, and all of a sudden you're sitting on a really good bag for this place. And the thing is, like, everyone I've talked to, which is not a ton of people, but, you know, out of everyone I've talked to, 12 pounds is the most I've heard so far by the end of practice. So we'll see. I mean, somebody's going to unlock the key to the big fish. Like, that's the one thing I will say. I feel like there's a place where they're grouped up, because there really aren't many females up at all. Like, I'm not even seeing them cruising. That leads me to believe that they're probably grouped up somewhere. And if they're grouped up somewhere, that's where it could get ugly. Somebody finds that and it could get ugly for the rest of us. There was another little one. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to think yet. The second half of the day definitely better than the first half. Anyways, we'll end it with that. I'll give it a little longer and go find some dinner. And I appreciate all of you guys coming along on my practice days, where you get to listen to me think and talk out loud to myself. Oh, there, he just ate it. Got him. And that's not a terrible one. This is one of those, you know, a little better than average, probably 15.5, pound and 3/4, just like that. Okay, well, we're gonna end it there. That was a cool bite. Saw him swim up, suck it in, and I will see you guys tomorrow, day 3 of practice.